Okay, well, welcome to Client Support Elements. So I'm Nancy Peterson,
I'm Clark Peterson.
and we are Peterson Health Coaching, and we love to help people get healthy.
Yeah.
We lost a total of 115 pounds between the two of us and have kept it off for 5 years, and we continue to work on our health. So it is a journey, everybody. It's not, you just don't do it and then it's done. And it's the great thing about this program is that they continue to offer guidance and now even new products to help us just continue to improve our health. And one of the things that has come out is Optavia Active, which are amino acids that help you to repair muscle and build muscle. Because starting from when you're like 30, right, Clark?
30 years old, you start losing muscle mass
Yeah.
and muscle strength.
Yeah. And
Your
so,
body needs help.
yeah, amen to that. Anyway, so tonight though, we're going to do element 3. The last 2 weeks, we basically talked about awakening you. So we talked about your why you're doing this, and being clear about why you're doing this. And what is it? Then last week we talked, or 2 weeks ago, we talked about what it is you want to accomplish. Why is that important?
If you don't have a why or the reason why, or I'm doing this because, then it's easy to get sidetracked. Or what I've found out is old habits are hard to break. I don't know if anybody else agree with that, but they're stubborn. Old habits are stubborn. And so we have to learn a why to the reason why we're doing this, so that when we face obstacles or we face these new habits or developing new habits, we have the desire to go forward in those new habits.
Yeah. So if you are not clear about your why for doing this program and really clear about what it is you want to accomplish, I really encourage you to talk to your coach and just have a conversation about that, because now we're going to talk about how to get there. That's what tonight's all about.
Yeah. Yeah. So crystal clear why.
Yeah, crystal clear why.
Yeah.
So the element, the title of the element is, so how do you create what you want? Okay, you could want a lot of things. I could want $1 million. How do I create that? Right.
Right.
So,
Yeah. Tell me how.
right, right. But in terms of what we're talking about tonight is your health. Okay, so okay, you're crystal clear. You've got your why. Maybe it's a medical thing, whatever. You are clear about exactly what you want to accomplish. So now we're going to talk about how you actually do that, right?
So, okay.
Uh-oh, I think let's see, let's do this.
Okay.
All right. All right.
Yes, those are for you.
Okay, so
Be a surprise.
Renee, I can't seem to
Mute you.
mute you. I'm going to do, oh, there, I just did it. Okay. All right. So the how. Does anybody know the how?
How do we get there?
I'm going to give you the secret to how you actually accomplish your goal. And this may seem simple to you, but if you can implement this, you will achieve your goal and you will maintain your goal. And what it is creating small, sustainable choices.
Yeah.
So I want to say it again, small, sustainable choices. So what we don't do is say, okay, we really want to get healthy and we know that motion is part of it. So I'm just going to go out and run 10 miles every day. Now, really, how long does that last?
Yeah. And I think that with that, we learn to take ownership of our own choices.
Exactly.
And I think it's very, very important to really get our heads wrapped around, because I am where I am because of the choices I've made. And I can go where I want to go because of the choices I can make.
Right.
So owning your own choices is
right.
key.
So have you ever gone to a party and said, well, I just couldn't help myself, it was all there. Well, we've got to come to terms with the fact that we can help ourselves.
Yeah, yeah.
That we can take ownership over that. That nobody, contrary to watching The Blacklist, where maybe they would tie you down and force feed you, that does not happen to us at any kind of
No,
event.
no, it never happened to me.
Never happened to me.
No,
No one had to force feed me.
no. but
So-
I was right there. Yeah,
It's right
right there.
Okay. Okay. So we just have to take ownership of what we're doing. So again, if we're clear about where we're going, what we want to accomplish, then what we do is okay, this is what we're going to do. This is important to us. We're going to take ownership of it and make. So there's 4 steps. Okay. To me, this is a really important element,
Very.
guys. And I want you to really pay attention to the 4 steps of how you reach your goal and keep it. Okay. The first step is this. Today, right now, you want to create a structural tension of where you want to go. And what I mean by that, you want to explain with the
Structural tension is my reality, where I am today. We call that A, and B, where I want to be, where I want to go, what is my goal? So it's a structural tension of where I am and where I want to be, and then how to get there, the steps to get from A to B.
Okay, so say it's all about weight loss. So say it's I'm here, I really want to lose these 20 pounds. That's B. Okay. So I'm going to drink, at least 64 ounces of water. I'm going to take a walk every day. I'm going to eat every 3 hours, and I'm going to watch my nutrition and my portion size and all of that, right? So these are the steps, and I recommend that you actually write it out. Okay. I'm at this weight. I want to get to this weight. This is what I'm going to do.
I'm going to follow these very
Right.
simple, achievable steps every day.
Right. Clarity for where you're going to go. Okay, that's step 1. Step 2 is you're going to set up. Okay, so now you've got that list of what you're going to do, right? And then does this ever happen to you? Oh, I was out and about and I didn't have any fueling, so I had to drive through Taco Bell, and all they had was, or whatever it is, right?
All they had was those Krispy Kremes. That's all they had.
Yeah, it's not a good thing. So if you've got these steps and you're focusing on those steps, what you want to do is create a habit loop to have those steps actually happen for you.
What's the habit loop?
Okay, so I love habit loops. So say you need to remember to eat every 3 hours. What is it that's going to remind you to do that? You're going to set your phone, right? So every 3 hours, your alarm goes off and it goes ding, right? Yep. Okay. So that would be a habit. Or you want to add motion in. So what you do is maybe you put your shoes by your bed, your walking shoes, because in the morning you're going to take that 20-minute walk. Okay. But by seeing those shoes, it's going to remind you to do that. So you're really just setting yourself up for success. It's kind of like if you go for an interview, you're going to set yourself up for success by making sure you have your resume, making sure you're dressed appropriately, making sure maybe you know a little bit about the company. It's kind of the same idea. You want to be prepared. So you want to create something.
They call it a cue.
A cue to remind you to do these things. Okay? You want to be prepared.
So, because what you're trying to do is interrupt old habits and create new ones. And a cue interrupts those times so that you can make a choice to eat correctly or at the right time or do your exercise or drink your water.
Okay, so here's a real simple one that I do. So in the morning in my coffee, I take some collagen, right? It's good for your skin, it's good for your hair and all this. So what I do is I put that little jar of collagen literally right by the coffee machine so that when I go to make my coffee in the morning, I won't forget that. It's not out of sight, out of mind. It's right in front of our nose, right? So set it up. So again, make that list, then think about how you're going to set it up so it's just going to happen for you.
Set yourself up for success.
Right,
Yes.
right, right. So the third one is identify micro habits to install.
Yes. So you have to, you have to decide what micro habit you want to install in order to succeed in the change you want to create.
And the reason that's important to talk about is if your micro habit is motion, okay, say this is something you need to put into your daily health,
Mhm.
motion. And you say, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run 5 miles every day. And you haven't even gone for a walk
In 7 years.
in 7 years, or maybe your whole life, that probably isn't going to work. So what you have to do is you have to be very realistic and you have to expect something that's manageable
Achievable.
and achievable.
Yeah.
All right. And 20 minutes out walking, if you do it consistently, is going to give you the benefit. More so than if you go out and try to run 2 miles and then don't do anything for a week because you're so sore that you can't barely move. Okay. So make it a very manageable. That's step 3. And step 4, this is where I think a couple of elements ago, I talked about going beast mode. I don't know who was on that heard me do that. I don't. Okay, so beast mode means you're just serious about doing this. You're going to do this no matter what.
Yeah.
If somebody brings something into the house that is going to get you off track, you're not going to eat it because this is really important to you.
Yeah.
So step 4 is connecting what you're doing right now to where you want to go. So if that's really important to you, and it can be something like, you know what, I just want to get rid of these last 10 pounds or whatever it is. Okay. Or it's important to me by next spring to be healthy when I go back to the doctors because they were going to put me on insulin or whatever it is. If you keep that in your forefront, that is going to motivate you to say no to these other things, right? When you keep that, so you basically, the way we describe it is our present action will give us long-term rewards. So we have to remember where we're going, all right? So our present action. So when we make choices, we need to be thinking this is where we want to go and make those choices. And that is going to give us long-term rewards.
For instance, if a person starts their health journey on a Monday and they consistently they drink the right amount of water, they eat every 2.5 to 3 hours, they have the right lean and green, they get good rest, and they do that every day. Immediately they're going to see that success. But long term, by the end of the week, they might lose 5 pounds.
True.
So it's long term. It's hooked to the future results too.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So what is it that it takes, or what does it take to actually make that a lifelong habit? And it's one thing: consistency. It's doing it every day. That's what happens because then it becomes a habit. So you may say, oh, yeah, I know, but I fell off. I went on vacation. The weekend came. It was my son's birthday. It was all these things. And I know these things happen in life. But here's the goal. The goal is that more times than not, you're leaning into healthy habits. You're doing what is going to support the goal you want to achieve. And every time you do that, every time you stay consistent, and the longer you can do it, the better you'll do, right? Then it becomes second nature. It becomes what your norm, right? And here's the thing, if you start, okay, say your big habit is whatever, it's the water, the nutrition, taking a walk, right? Those are the things that are going to get you from A to B. And you do it really well for 5 days, and then something comes up. Well, you can just hop back on. You're fine. So maybe the next day you have a problem too. Okay. If a third day happens for you, what you need to know is that you basically are like starting over. Okay. So, and it's okay. I mean, we all do it. Starting over because you need to be doing it for a consistent period of time. Otherwise, your brain will just, how did he say it? It was really good.
Brain disregard.
Yeah, your brain disregards patterns that are not consistent. Right? So the consistency, and that's why you don't want to choose things that are just going to push you too far. You need to just instill those simple things. Then you can always build on that and add to that, right?
Yeah.
So I want to share a quick story about Dr. Anderson. So Dr. Anderson tells this story that when he was going through medical school, and then when he had a practice and all that, his life was crazy. And I'm sure we can all identify with that. Our life just gets so busy, and you just kind of throw your hands up in the air, right? And you just, anyway, what would happen to him is he would eat so quickly because he had no time. And I don't know about you guys, but I can relate to that.
She's always fast.
I'm always faster than he is. I beat him every time.
Every time.
And which is really not good. So what he realized is it actually was affecting his health in that he was eating more than he should. He was eating the wrong things. He wasn't even enjoying what he was eating. And so he made a decision. He wanted to go from point A, which was an unhealthy way to eat, to point B, a healthy way to eat, right? And so what he decided to do in the middle was he was going to chew his food 5 times for each bite. And we've heard this in other programs, right? I remember hearing it years ago. And so he started doing that. And what he realized is he started eating less. He started to be full quicker. He enjoyed his meal more. And it just was a better experience, right? And he said now it's not unusual for him to chew 10, 15 times for each bite. So I was so inspired when I read about this was like a week ago, that I decided I'm going to do the same thing, and I'm doing better.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not quite beating them now. It's just those little changes, and it's just really just thinking it through and then just practicing it. And as long as it's not difficult, you'll do it. Because even if life gets crazy, I still can chew something 5 times. That's not gonna crazy. So yeah. All right. Anything else to say?
What I like about the micro habits, the micro small, is that they're small choices that you really are able to achieve. So we can say it in a negative way. We can't really have any excuses on why we can't. I mean, we can, but they're small, manageable choices that we all do. And that's why they're called micro, because they're small, manageable choices that it's hard to come up with an excuse why we can't. We put it in a positive way. I can achieve these small choices every day, in order to create my own success. And I think that's a very positive thing. And if we can do that with eating, I have found that rolls over into other areas of my life. It just positively affects other areas of my life,
Yeah.
spiritually, emotionally, financially. It just positively impacts because I'm controlling and making choices in how I eat.
Yeah, I mean, so much of what we're learning with Optavia can be applied to many areas in your life. I mean, think about structural tension just in your finances. You know, you can say, okay, I'm here, but I really want to be here. So these are the things we're going to do to get there. And you have to make them manageable things, right? You can use it even with your kids, you know, if their behaviors here, we want them to be here and we know we can do these things. Sometimes it's just kind of stepping back and realizing, you know, you just have to follow what you're doing. Although with kids, you never know.
Consistent.
Just saying. But just
You
so
never know.
yeah, you never know. So here's my question I want you to ask yourselves tonight. Do you envision yourself at optimal health? Or do you envision yourself never getting there?
Or getting to a certain point, but not necessarily your ultimate place. Because I think small goals are really good as long as you go to the next one.
Yeah.
As long as
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I've worked with people who have a substantial amount of weight to lose, and so they go, well, I'm going to lose 50. That's great. And they get to the 50, but then we have to reset again. So small increments are incredibly powerful as long as you keep going towards your ultimate health.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes, anybody raise your hand on, sometimes those get interrupted. Anybody raise their hand on that? You know, they get interrupted. And what I encourage us tonight is to you interrupt that thing that isn't interrupting you. I encourage you to interrupt that thing that is interrupting your goal. And sometimes we can get discouraged. I don't know who I'm talking to tonight. This wasn't in plan. It's not on our piece of paper right here. It's not on here. But this is what I want to encourage. Maybe this is your night to interrupt the very thing that's interrupting you to getting to your goal. And that has brought discouragement to you. It has brought a language to yourself in your head that says, I guess I'm just stuck here. Or these things don't allow me. Well, I'm encouraging tonight to interrupt that thing that is interrupting you because you have power over it.
Mhm. And there is power in writing it down
Yes.
because science has shown that when you do that, your brain actually, when you actually write it,
Yes.
that your brain realizes that, and there is it will look for those things to help you achieve that.
Yes.
This is what happens. And I can't remember the word they called it, but there is a scientific word that talks about.
There is a connection between
Yeah.
your head and your heart and your hand when you write it all out.
Yeah.
There's just a connection. And the scripture talks about writing down your vision, though it tarry, though it gets halted, though it gets stalled, it'll come. So maybe write it down every day for a while.
Or have it at least and I think I'm going to do it this week too, because I remember when I was going a couple years ago, I just wrote it on a 3x5 card, put it on my bathroom mirror, and so I saw it every time. And there was something powerful in that for me. It was like, you know, it was like having a little accountability partner or something. You know, you look at the mirror, you're like, oh yeah, that's right. That's what I'm doing today.
That's your
I'm gonna
future
do-
self.
Yeah. And that is so much the program. is that what we do at Optavia, not only in our health, but we try to do this in everything, is lead from the future. So what is it? What do you want to be? How do you want to be? How healthy do you want to be? What is it you're wanting to accomplish in the future? You lead from that, but you act in the now. So you act as though you're already doing that. And guess what happens? Then you're already doing that and you accomplish it. So you want to lead from the future, act in the now.
Right. So
Yeah.
that's why I think these 4 phrases help a lot. They help us do that when you have your step 1 to use structural tension, step 2 to set up a habit loop. 3 is to identify the micro habits to install,
And make them easy,
easy,
micro habits.
obtainable. And number 4, connect present action to immediate and long-term reward.
Rewards.
Those 4 things are a great thing to write down every day. This boom, 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 boom. And it doesn't just have to be about health. It can be about your coaching. It can be about other things. But that's a great thing to do every day.
Mhm, mhm. So we're going to leave you with this. Consistency trumps intensity every time. So make your micro habits simple and very doable. Because if you do that, then it doesn't feel overwhelming. And as that becomes a comfortable habit, you can build on that. You can add to that.
I heard someone talking about consistency last couple weeks, but he said something like this also, that consistency turns ordinary into excellence. It just turns the ordinary thing, the everyday, it turns it into the next level. And without it, you don't go next level. So that's good too.
Yeah. Yeah. So we hope that you will take away at least a couple of things tonight and actually write down what you want to accomplish. Create your structural tension. Create your cues of how you're going to remind yourself to do it. And make sure they're manageable. Micro habits are easy. And be thinking about the immediate and the long-term rewards of what you're doing.
Ownership.
And yeah, you got to have ownership.
Own it.
We're not going to tie you down and feed you,
Own it.
trust me. So
It's yours, man. It's yours.
yep.
Yours.
So, all right. We're so glad you guys got to join us, and hopefully we'll see you all next week.
Happy
for
Monday.
Element 4. All right. Take care. Bye.